All right, on to an astounding new report highlighting a major crisis across New York City: homeless public school students and the lack of available permanent housing. More than 101,000 students didn't have a home over the previous school year. That's according to New York City data. Advocates say that the statistics remain stubbornly high while showing the effects of school closures and learning disruptions, mainly due to the pandemic. It also signals a larger national issue, as millions of children face similar situations nationwide. So joining us now is Dr. Megan Sandel. She is the principal investigator of Children's HealthWatch and co-director of the Grow Clinic, both at Boston Medical Center. Thank you so much for joining us. I think that part of the reason that this issue flies under the radar is because when we hear homeless or unhoused, however you want to phrase it, we see people living on the street. But what we don't account for are the children without homes who are not out on the street, who are couch surfing or in cars in places that we can't see them. So let us talk about this, the staggering number from one city. But this is something that affects students across the country. Just how many students are facing homelessness in the U.S. right now, and how has the pandemic affected this number?
Yeah, well, first, thank you for having me this morning, and thank you for highlighting this really important issue, because I think it is really hidden for a lot of people. In many ways, it's a hard number to capture. The most recent best national statistics are over 6 years old. An estimated 2.5 million children across the country are currently homeless. Now, the homeless definition in schools is slightly different than in the housing world, where we typically only count people who are living in shelters. In schools, they recognize that families that are doubled up, that oftentimes may be sleeping in a living room or sharing, one family in an entire bedroom, those kids are affected in how they learn. And so they count those as well. And so the statistics from New York City were 100,000 kids, about 25,000 of them were in homeless shelters, but 75,000 were estimated to be in these doubled up, overcrowded situations that we know affect kids' ability to learn.
So let's go to that. How children's ability to learn is affected by these sort of situations. And I kind of want you to talk about before the pandemic, but I can only imagine after the pandemic that those effects were exacerbated.
Absolutely. I think let's just understand the national trend here. Why are we seeing so many kids that are homeless? And it's because we have decades of not building enough affordable housing. So we're sort of paying that debt now that we are so in the hole in terms of not having enough affordable homes. I'm on the board of the National Low Income Housing Coalition, and we produce reports each year that show the gap. And in New York City, that gap can be enormous. Only about 30 homes are available for extremely low income people. So you have a gap out of 70% that aren't available. So as you start to think about that, what does that mean in schools? So you have kids that are showing up sometimes that may not have slept through the night very well. So they're falling asleep. They're not able to sometimes stay in the same school. They may start the school year in one school and then transfer in the middle of the school year to another school. So it's hard to keep up with what the teacher has laid out this beautiful plan to build off of the knowledge of the year. And they may necessarily have covered something, missed something in another school, and then are suddenly tested on it. There's really good research that kids that move at least 3 times from kindergarten to 6th grade can score 20% lower on national tests. And so I often will say we put a lot on teachers to try and do great teaching, but if kids aren't showing up to school, they're chronically absent, or they're switching schools mid-school year, it becomes really hard to be able to do the great educational interventions. And we know that a lot of times when you look at particularly young kids before they start kindergarten, homelessness can have an outsized impact on those kids. And so those kids may not even be able to show up ready to learn in the same ways.
So the numbers do fluctuate, but a little bit of good news here is that school districts are getting better at identifying which students are facing homelessness. How are educators and administrators trained to recognize this, and what sort of resources are being made available?
Yeah, there's great federal legislation under the McKinley-Vento Act where schools often will have a homeless services coordinator. And that's the person that's designated once a family is identified to be able to help them with a lot of the different challenges. Could be transportation, could be getting after school programs or other things up and running. And so I do think that oftentimes educators are really amazing at being able to ask a family, what's going on? What can I do to help you? And other things. I do think that there's some really amazing pilots out there. In Boston, for instance, an organization called Higher Ground Boston has had a family-led stability pilot where the city of Boston, alongside Boston Housing Authority, has prioritized homeless and housing unstable families in schools to get priority access to some of the affordable housing resources. That allows those kids to stay in those schools and then be able to build a real strong school community. And that has led to hundreds of families now being able to be stably housed. So I do think these ideas, especially with some of the more recent vouchers that have come down from the American Rescue Plan, and I just want to highlight the Build Back Better framework has $150 billion in it for affordable housing. We need that bill to get passed so that we can be able to address this really important issues with America's children.
Yeah, all these things are connected, as you pointed out, that this starts a long time ago with the lack of affordable housing. So what's happening in Boston sounds really good. But what about New York? Much bigger city. We've got a new mayor coming in, Mayor Eric Adams. He's going to have to tackle this. What do you think he should focus on to bring these numbers down, these numbers of homeless children?
Well, I think that we have to have a both-and approach. We need to be able to unlock more housing resources, and we need to build more affordable housing. I do want to highlight that it's important for us also not to just focus on the homeless populations, but we also need to be able to renovate housing, making it housing stable and of good quality. So being able to unlock resources in the city housing authority apartments become really crucial. But the biggest thing that he can do right now is to be able to create city rental housing vouchers. That would allow families to be able to rent their own apartments, not have to choose between rent and food, and to be able to be more housing stable. And so I think it's a both-and approach. We need to build more affordable housing and make more rental vouchers available so that people can be stably housed for the future.
Yeah, and then families could stay in communities where they have support, maybe other family members, or stay in communities where the school is really good and the child is flourishing there. Like I said, all these things are interconnected. Dr. Megan Sandel, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.